I'm Dr. Charlotte Sharfin, and I have a story I want to tell you guys about a patient that I took care of in the emergency department. You see, I'm a board certified ER physician, and I have been practicing emergency medicine for probably over 15 years. I'm also a healer, and I say that because of the patients that I finally started listening to. The lessons that they were bringing me, the stories that they were telling me. And that allowed me to heal myself, and it's allowed me to really branch off into a world of healing that I didn't even know existed. And so this lesson was a really important lesson for me, one that I thought I already knew. Apparently, I needed to know a little bit more. And it's a lesson about judgment. And this patient came in emergently. You know, despite what the TV shows and the movies show, emergency medicine is not always emergency medicine. A lot of what we deal with are chronic issues over and over and over again. And to actually have a true emergency is actually, I mean, it happens, of course, but it's not every patient that we see. And so when someone comes in near death or dying, a whole team takes over that works together to save lives. And it's our passion. It's something we do like clockwork, and it's beautiful to watch. It's almost like a symphony. Except instead of beautiful music, you hear chaos. And people have asked me how I've done this for so long, because I really have actually worked past most burnout for ER physicians. And I think the reason I've been able to do what I've done for so long and still actually enjoy it and love it is because of the patients, because I started listening to what they had to say and what they had to teach me. And once I started doing that, I'm so grateful for whatever happened to walk through that door. And this is one of those patients that I'll never forget. Never. And I was called into his room because he was so sick. The nurse that was assigned to his room knew immediately as soon as she saw him that he needed an emergency physician. He needed major medical intervention or he was going to die. And I felt that as soon as I walked in as well. I walked in and I had honestly never seen someone so pale, someone so white in my entire life. And he was a Hispanic man. But his skin was whiter than snow is the only way I can probably describe it. And as soon as I saw his face and as soon as I saw his condition, I looked at the nurse and I said, "Get me blood now. I need it stat or he's going to die." And I had not even introduced myself. I didn't even know the man's name. I knew he was a young 30-year-old something who needed my help. But I didn't know how much I needed his. Because when he looked at me and mustered as much energy as it took to even just mouth the words, he said, "No blood." And my heart sank because I knew I've done this long enough to know that his religious beliefs were preventing him from taking blood. But I still had to ask because I need to make things very clear in the emergency department. It's always your choice as to what your care is, but I also have to give you the facts. And so I looked at him and I said, "Sir, are you a Jehovah's Witness?" And again, mustering as much strength as he could, he said, "Yes, I will not take blood." And something came over me at that moment, and it was probably total despair because I knew that I could save his life. But I knew there was nothing that I was going to say that was going to change the fact that this man was most likely going to die and probably die right in front of me. And so I had to explain that to him and make sure that he completely understood that. And he acknowledged that he did. And so I continued to do what I can do because as an emergency physician, you work with what you've been given. And I tried to stabilize. And I remember looking into his eyes and him telling me, I don't want to die. I don't want blood either. And so we called in his family. And I did the most non-invasive things that I could do to try to support his body. And I walked out and I took a breath and I thought, my God, what is this man choosing? Is he in his right mind? Maybe he's just not thinking clearly because he doesn't have any blood flow into his brain. But then I pulled up his chart and it was everywhere. He was clearly very devout. These were his beliefs. Not only had he expressed them multiple times through multiple physicians, but you could see that the family was actually also on board as well. And so when I walked back into the room to meet his wife and his 2 children, I witnessed something that, I will stay with me for the rest of my life. I watched him look at his oldest son, who could not have been more than 11 or 12 years old, and tell him that he was now the man of the house, and that he would have to take care of mom and his little brother. And I watched his father, who was actually a cardiologist, continue to hope beyond hope that he would survive this. And I knew all along that without blood, he would not. And so I watched a man die because of his religious beliefs. And I went along with it because it's my job. My job is not not to put my beliefs on anyone. I know that. I feel that. I have always been pretty good at that, I thought. It's one thing I think as an emergency physician you have to be good at. We deal with people of all walks of life, all religions, races, sexual orientations, beliefs. And I have always thought that I was this open-minded, accepting person until I went home. Until I felt how angry I was inside, how sad I was inside. I just watched a 30-year-old man die in front of me because he refused to take blood because of something that he had decided was his belief. And I had such a hard time with that. I judged him. I was angry with him. I didn't understand. And that's where the lesson took over. That's where he made me think. That's where I know his life was not in vain. Because it really made me actually ask myself, why am I angry? These were his choices, and he knew exactly what he was doing. Exactly. And so when I speak of judgment, I speak of it not as a bad thing, because we all do it. First of all, we're all human. And when I tell you this story, it's an emotional story, but it's a real story. I make judgments every day, especially as an ER physician. When I walk into a room, I have to judge. Are you sick? Can you wait? Do you need me emergently, or can I go take care of this patient over here? Or do you need to leave? I think when judgments hinder us, or when those judgments become fear, anger, and that's those times we have to actually look at ourselves and ask ourselves why. Why are we feeling those things? And that is what this man did for me. He made me sit down with myself, and he made me ask the question. And I do believe he helped me in so many ways, because as an emergency physician, I love saving people's lives. That's what I do. But as a healer, I have learned that I just love life and death. And I have learned that that's one of my gifts, is helping people transition out of this life. Something I'm very passionate about. But in order to do that in such a sacred way, I have to learn to let go of my own judgments of how someone lives their life and how someone chooses to die. They go hand in hand. And so this message is more about yourself, okay? Myself. We put judgments on ourselves, I think, more than we tend to put them on other people. And when we're doing that, we're hindering our own healing and we're hindering our own growth. And so I just ask you, the next time you are judging anything, whether it be something you've done or something another person's done to you or however you may feel about it, you remember this man. You remember his life and you remember his lesson of non-judgment as best we can. I'm Dr. Charlotte Sharfin, and if you have any questions, you can go down to my website at charlottesharfin.com or follow me on Facebook, Dr. Charlotte Newman Sharfin. And I also actually do coaching. I do that for healthcare providers. I do that for people that are facing the end of their life. I also do that for people that are interested in whole body well-being, not just physical well-being. It's a passion that has grown because of my patients. Thank you so much.